This is The Extra Point, an Arizona's Family Originals podcast, sponsored by your Phoenix Suns.
Well, the Valley of the Sports never seems to sleep. College football is here, and it's going to be a big year. So we brought in Erik Moses from the Fiesta Bowl to talk about it. It is a very busy time. You are kicking off the college football season very soon with a huge event. How would you describe what the next 6 months of your life is going to look like?
Busy, but fun. Right? Like, it's college football season. It's football season, period, at all levels. And we all get a little excited about the dawn of a new season every year. Hope springs eternal for all of us whose teams came up maybe a wee bit short.
Like Texas? Yeah. I didn't take the night off. I'm watching that doing the extra point, and that was probably the worst show we had of 2024.
Yeah, the prices of those national championship tickets went way down after Texas wasn't going to be in the
I would have paid big bucks for that one for sure.
But it was a good season. I think I made a bold prediction to somebody recently when challenged, and my bold prediction was that Arch Manning would win the Heisman Trophy.
Oh.
Coming off the bench.
Wow. So what,
They
you
said
thinking
be bold.
like the Michigan game doesn't go well, so Arch gets the call?
Maybe there's. I'm not wishing this on anyone, but maybe
you go play the
there's
defending national champs in their house. I'm worried about that one.
Yeah, maybe there's an injury or something,
Yeah,
or maybe he just looks really good. I don't know, or maybe somebody dangles $50 million in NIL money, and they got to figure out a way to keep him. I don't know. They told me to be bold, so I was bold.
Well, we appreciate bold predictions, especially on the show, especially about my Longhorns. What has it been like for you preseason? Have you been at some of the media days? How would you, as we take the temperature of college football, what temperature have you found it to be around the country?
There's a lot of excitement, obviously, around the expanded playoff. Because there are going to be so many more stories and so many more opportunities for fans like us to hope that our team makes it into the tournament.
Who's your team, by the way? Do you have
Chapel Hill?
Yeah.
I went to North Carolina.
Oh, you and Nick King. How do we not know this?
Do I know Nick King?
He's downstairs editing the Diamondbacks highlights right now.
Well, we should meet. We will be fast
friends.
friends.
Yeah. We might have to run him up here,
Yeah,
or I might have to tell him this, and then next time he'll just push me out of the way and host the show.
All good Tar Heels. Yeah. So I'm
we'll
hoping
get Jerry Stackhouse in here.
I was texting
Lawrence
with
Taylor.
Jerry like 2 days ago.
Were you really?
Yeah.
So he thinks North Carolina football is he in North Carolina football or just still talking basketball? Is he coaching?
Yeah, he's with the Warriors now.
Cool.
Yeah, we were both in Nashville together when
Nice.
he was at Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah. So Carolina's my team. We'll see. People are excited about the expanded playoff. They're excited about conference, changes and Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC and Oregon and Washington to the Big Ten with USC and UCLA. I mean, it's really interesting stuff, and these matchups that we're going to see and new rivalries. I think everybody's excited about that. We're all a little nervous about how that's actually going to play out, hoping to avoid the Florida State type situations that we had last year, and I think the expanded format will help us to do that.
All right, expanded format really starts out here. So, I mean, how do you prepare for what? There's going to be a lot of eyes on this to see how this new playoff works out, and you're kind of one of the showcases of that here in Arizona for the Fiesta Bowl.
Yeah, we are accustomed to being one of the first to do things. We consider ourselves a bowl of first, and so we're excited to be the very first quarterfinal in this expanded format in CFP history. We'll do it the right way, as we always have. And where else would you want to be in December? But Arizona.
There's obviously no affiliations because it's just whoever gets in, but will this be more regional who comes out here, or what kind of guidance have you had of what kind of game you could get?
Yeah, there isn't an official word on it, but we think that the selection committee will be interested in ensuring that there are good regional kind of alignment, right? Cool. Because we still have to put butts in seats. We still want full stadiums watching these games in person and on television. And so, if I were a betting man, I would think we might get the Big 12 champ if that team ends up being one of the top 4 rated conference champions. It would make sense given their geography now for them to be here because, as you and I both know and your listeners know, there's no West Coast Conference anymore. So
that's so stunning to say out loud.
It is crazy.
And to think that Arizona is projected to make a run here in the Big 12. So you think about, they've played in the Fiesta Bowl before, and it was against Boise State, and it was a great game, and it was packed. So what would that mean to have potentially a home state school in your bowl game?
Like, don't get me so excited thinking about these kinds of things. It would be fantastic. I mean, given what both programs here in state have been kind of going through lately, it would be a dream come true to have either of them, quite frankly, play in either of our games. I think it'd be great. And I think it would help to continue to drive enthusiasm in and across the state around football, which is what we're trying to do kind of at every level. And I think what Kenny is doing at ASU is getting people excited. And I think Coach Brennan now down at Arizona is getting people excited on the heels of what Jed was able to do last year. I mean, we're trending in the right direction, and we want to do our part as one of the premier football organizations in this state, and dare I say in this country, to continue to foment that passion and drive that fire for football all across the state.
Well, and there's something about turning on the Fiesta Bowl and it's a cold day across the country, and you think, oh man, I want to be in Arizona watching that. And by the way, once you said Arizona State, Sun Devil Joe back there, his eyes kind of lit up. We were talking about the Wildcats, and I think he didn't like that too much. So thank you for making this inclusive for the Sun Devils, the Wildcats. And I mean, either one could be in the game. That would certainly be exciting.
Look, I'd take one in one game and one in the other. That'd be great. It'd be a dream come true. Christmas come early.
Right. Well, so talk to me about kickoff times, what we should expect. And we've kind of heard that downtown for the Guaranteed Rate Bowl might be more of a festival this year. It gives you a little more time to do that.
We're hoping so. Yeah, we have banged our head up against the wall that can sometimes be ESPN for years, asking for an earlier kickoff time for that game. It has traditionally been, last year was 7:30. Before that was 8:30, and you lose all of the East Coast from a viewership standpoint. I'm much more interested in how do we appeal to people here across the valley and across the state to make certain that they want to come out. And football time, tailgating and all that lends itself to an earlier kick. 3:30 kickoff this year. So the day after Christmas. And so everybody's going to need to stretch their legs a little bit and walk off some of that turkey and ham and all of that, and maybe get a little distance from being cooped up in the house with our family members.
Preach.
And so come on downtown and see two of the best football teams in the country play each other in Chase Field. And yes, we're looking to figure out what we can do to build around that experience so that people can be engaged before they go into the stadium and see a great game.
And the affiliation for that, has that changed at all with the new conferences? Are we still looking at Big Ten, what do we have last year?
Big 10, Big 12.
We had Big 10, Big 12.
Well, last year Big Ten didn't produce enough teams,
right.
and so we ended up with UNLV from Mountain West.
That was a great game.
It's a fantastic game, and a lot of folks think that Kansas will make noise in the Big 12 this year, coming off of that victory that they had in our game last year.
Yeah.
Highest scoring game, I think, in bowl season.
No, it was great. It made for great highlights for the extra point.
That was good stuff.
Well, you're kicking off the college football season here. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's starting to feel like football season. Maybe not outside, but we got you have a very, very nice indoor event coming up. It's a Fiesta Bowl. You've always done the kickoff luncheon, but is this like reimagined this year? Tell us kind of what the thinking is here to get things going.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. Our annual kickoff luncheon has happened for many, many years, and it was intended to signal the start of the football season. It's like many others, or was like many other business luncheons. You go, you network, you eat your chicken, you listen to people talk, and then you go back to work. And what we really wanted to do was to focus on not only elevating everything that we do and providing the best experience for people who take their time, spend their money to come out and join us, but to lean into our competitive advantage. And what is that? Football. We are associated with football. We're here to celebrate football. I had a meeting, our first meeting with the folks at the Fairmont Scottsdale Princess when we talked about moving the event there. And when one of the guys there said, I've been many years, I've been to the Fiesta Bowl game 10 years in a row. I didn't know that your luncheon was a kickoff of the football season. So after I got up off the ground, I said, well, we're going to change that this year. So we're going to give you a game day experience. We want you to be able to feel what you'd feel, see the sights and sounds of a game day. And so we'll have a bunch of the iconic college football trophies that are in our museum out there. You take your picture with the Heisman Trophy or the Outland or the Buckus. And, of course, the most beautiful trophy in all of sports, the Fiesta Bowl trophy. We'll have all kinds of little iconic things from college football that people will be able to lean into. We want to make it an immersive experience. We're telling people, wear your jerseys, wear your team colors. Come on out and have a good time and maybe stick around. We're going to do a little social. Our YJ committee will host a social after it's over We'll have a couple drinks. We'll talk some more football about the upcoming season. It's going to be a good time, and it's going to be a party. We want people to have fun.
2 questions. Will there be a keynote speaker, and will Spirit be there? Spirit's one of the better mascots. We're friends.
Well, I appreciate you saying that,
Yeah.
and he is very fond of you as well.
Okay, thank you.
I think Spirit will be there. Sometimes his schedule gets, pretty.
It's one of the better
pretty
mascots.
busy.
Yeah,
he's
right.
in demand. He's in demand. Spirit will be there, and I'm sorry I buried the lead, but yes, none other than Larry Fitzgerald Jr. will be our keynote speaker, our featured
That's a big
speaker.
name in the sound. That's a big
pretty
kid.
big. A few people have heard of that guy.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Obviously an icon on the field, frankly an icon in this state in terms of everything that he represents and the way he represents it. I'm excited to have a fireside chat with him and talk about not only his football journey, but what he's done since then, his focus on philanthropy, his focus on building a business, and all of the stuff that he's involved in right now. So really excited about that. And we're also going to honor our inaugural preseason all-state football teams, boys tackle and girls flag football at this event, get them up on stage, take some pictures, and make certain that we, as I said earlier, continue to build the passion, excitement, and visibility around football at every level in this state.
And we've seen you out at high school football games, and so the preseason all-state teams. What went into the thinking to put those together, and how do you think that helps grow your brand?
Well, folks like you and I are looking to see where the Longhorns or the Tar Heels are in the preseason poll, so we can get all excited about what may happen this year. And I thought, well, we have an all-state team at the end of the season. Why wouldn't we project and predict who's going to perform well and who we think the standouts will be? And so nobody else was doing it, and we went, this makes sense. And it is, to your point, an extension of our Friday Night Showdown initiative that we started last year to go out to these games across the valley, rivalry games, and really just make a bigger deal out of what the kids are doing out there and the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into performing on the field and off the field. And so this is an extension. We're building a great partnership with the AIA, and we want to continue to help them do what they do, perform their mission, and help these student athletes across the state.
Have you seen football grow at all since you've come to town? I mean, how would you describe kind of your tenure being here and just kind of seeing as the valley grows, does football grow?
Well, here's what I will say. As someone who grew up on the East Coast and spent most of my life on the East Coast, I had no idea that there was so much sports talent and football talent in particular in Arizona. That secret is no longer a secret. We have been to all of the football media days around the country in the last several weeks. And when we say we're from Arizona, coaches say, oh, yeah, we're looking at some kids there. The secret is out. And we want to help to continue to make certain that it stays out there and that coaches from everywhere, don't let Coach Brennan and Coach Dillingham hear me say this, but coaches from all over the country come here to look for high school talent.
Yeah, right.
They're like, stay away, stay away. So I think that there is certainly growing momentum around football in this state from what I've seen over the last 19 months that I've been here. There's excitement around the Cardinals and what they're doing, the changes that they've made there. There's excitement around what ASU and U of A are doing. And I hope there's excitement around what we're doing, and certainly at the high school level as well. So all of that coming together, I think, is going to grow football here in the state.
And how does the Fiesta Bowl hope to kind of bring it all together? Is that sort of part of your mission?
Yeah. I mean, Scott will laugh at this. I used to say when I was in NASCAR that car people are our people, right? I was running a NASCAR track. If you're trying to sell NASCAR to people, do it with folks who understand how cars work and like cars. Same thing. We're a football organization. We sell football. Why wouldn't we engage anywhere and everywhere we can reasonably with the football community? Our fandom usually starts in high school when you and I are rooting for our teammates, our classmates, our brothers and sisters and cousins and other people like that. That's where we get this bug. And so we want to engage there, and we want those folks and those football families to feel like, wow, we have the luxury of having 2 postseason college football games, bowl games here in our backyard. Those games belong to us. We're going to be there. Why wouldn't we be there? Regardless of which teams play, we're going to be there to support, not only because I'm going to see some great football, but because of what we do as an organization to pour back dollars into communities across this state to drive positive social and community impact.
All right, I'm gonna get your predictions now from you. How many media days have you been to? How many teams have you seen? How many people have you talked to? Would you say?
I think we went to six media days.
What was the best? What had the best food and
get me in trouble.
weather? Yeah.
I thought Big 12.
Did you go to Pac-12, by the way? Did you go to the Pac-12, Pac-2 media day?
Yeah.
You did?
So Big 12, Pac-12/2, and Mountain West were all in Las Vegas at the same time. So we got 3 for the price of 1.
Nice.
That one was nice. Big 12 was at Allegiant Stadium, and so that was cool. Big 10 was great. I missed SEC because I was a little under the weather, but Big 10 was great. It was in Lucas Oil, and they do it well. So all of them are great. I'm an ACC guy, so I'm always going to be a homer for the ACC. Is that still going
to be around?
Hey, come on! I thought we were friends.
Okay, I'm just wondering if SMU is going to be the only one left there. Or what's that going to look like?
So the look, I love the Big 12. Brett Yormark, who runs the Big 12, is a friend. I admire what he's done there and what he continues to do. By most objective measures, the ACC is still kind of number 3 in pecking order in terms of what they pay out to their schools and all of the objective measures. And I know more of that now, having been to their football media day. I think it's good that we've got 2 kind of, conferences fighting for that 3rd spot, if you will. Maybe the 1 and 2 between Big 10 and SEC are fighting also, but I think most people would know how they think that is as ordered, I guess, depending on what part of the country you live in.
Right.
So, look, I think the ACC will be around. They've got 3 new teams, 2 on the West Coast. SMU is raising goo gobs of money.
Yeah.
I mean, the Texas thing, right? They're raising goo gobs of money.
Now they're doing it. When I was a kid, we actually had season tickets, and they were not raising it legally. Now it's legal. I was a
now
big
that
SMU
car
fan,
you get is
right.
Yeah.
You give Erik Dickerson the Trans Am, it's fine.
So you know what their AD, who was at Chapel Hill with me in undergrad, he's a year behind me in undergrad. He said the story is really A&M gave him that Trans Am, and he drove it to SMU and then played at SMU. And what could they do?
Only
Nothing.
In Texas, man.
Nothing. Texas is a special place.
Right.
Special place.
Right. Oh, I love it. Okay. Any just sort of like who's going to pop this year? Who's kind of your dark horse teams? Who could be in the playoff that we're not really seeing? And do you have a prediction for who winds up on top?
So, and I said this the same time I called the Arch Manning thing. I think Oregon wins it all.
Wow.
I think they make a lot of noise in the Big Ten. I'm a little bit biased because we had them in our game last year, and I got a chance to see up close and personal the way Coach Lanning coaches that team and motivates those guys. To see them interact with Mikey's kids and Special Olympics kids when we had our community engagement activity, and the real joy that those players and coaches had interacting with those kids, not because they had to, but because we gave them the opportunity and they wanted to. And it wasn't fake. You can tell when people are faking enthusiasm. It wasn't fake. It says something special to me about those kids and the way that they respect their coach. I think, and I have heard from people who know far more about football than I do, that he is very good at what he does. And it helps to have Uncle Phil's money. And that would be Phil Knight for all of you listening of Nike fame. So I think that combination, I think they can make some real noise.
Well, and it wouldn't be the first time that somebody went to the Fiesta Bowl and won it, and then made a giant leap forward the next year. Yeah. The one that comes to mind, I mean, obviously Oregon lost their quarterback to the NFL, but was when Joe Burrow and LSU came out here, and you're like, wow, they're really good.
Yeah.
And then they were really
let's keep our eye on that guy. He seems like he might turn out all right.
How much do you think the college football video game will elevate college football this year? Because, I mean, I have kids, and maybe I'm just in a vacuum here, but all of their friends are playing this. They're all creating their own guys. I don't know that my sons knew where Auburn was or that it was even a school.
Right.
My son created a 6'8", 275-pound receiver who runs a 4.4 and has like a little small face mask, and he was enjoying blocking everybody last night. And then my other son created a 300-pound quarterback at Army who runs the option, and he's really fast. But they're having so much fun with this game. It's taken them all around the country. I feel like that could just enhance college football this year. What do you think?
I hope that it does. I'm enthused to hear you say that, because what I've heard from people is all of the men and women who were, I guess, in their 20s or their teens when the game was out and then it went away are the main people waiting for it to come back and are so excited. But now they're in their 30s and 40s, and so they're a little bit older. So I'm happy if younger kids are getting into the game, and that helps their discovery of college football and all that it brings. So we'll see. At all of the football media days, they were activating there, and the players were playing, and they're excited about it. So anything that feeds passion around football and college football in particular, I'm all for.
And I'm just like, hey, it's the window to education. So maybe you go to school here. Maybe you go to school here. You know, I don't think they had thought that way before because they'd always played Madden. But there's something about the college game. Maybe it's just the fans, but it's why we love it. It's why we're having this conversation.
College football, I like to say, is kind of like, and football in general, is like our secular religion in this country. It's the closest thing to the fandom that you see in Europe with soccer, with football over there. That same kind of tribalism that you have, that's what college football is in this country.
Right. And it's we're poised for a big year. Before we let you get out of here, do want to know how to be a part of the kickoff event, to hear Larry talk, to take a picture with Spirit, to meet you in person. What can people do to get involved?
Well, go to our website, fiestabowl.org. There are very few tables left, but there are a few. There may be some individual tickets kind of swimming around somewhere in the couch cushions that our ticketing team can help people with, but it's going to be a great event. It's going to be a lot of fun. The folks at the Fairmont are, as you know, I mean, they basically own Christmas with what they do there, and it's that kind of energy, that kind of passion, that kind of engagement that we're looking to create this year with that event. So fiestabowl.org is the best way to get information on that.
All right, get out there and get to the event and have a great season. Thanks for making a studio visit here to the Extra Point Podcast.
Thank you.